I was gonna leave this until like tomorrow or Saturday to do this, but I felt like it was important to do a part two of Jacqueline Pearce's report. Um, the names that are in this file, some of them anyway, appear to be real. The thing that worries me is nobody appears to know where Jacqueline Pearce actually is. Nobody knows, like, if she's alive or not, what's going on with her. So it could be like a falsified report that's kind of been compiled together in, from the multiple testimonies of other targeted individuals. Because we know from the way Jeffrey Epstein was like a moderator in Reddit or something like that. We all know like he had a hand in Reddit along with Steve Bannon. So this could just be another psyop designed to throw us off by throwing in truths with lies. But truth be told, like, I don't see where something like this could be fake, especially with all kinds of redactions in these fucking files. Okay? So I don't see where this could be fake, honestly. But when it comes to stuff like this, we have to keep an open mind because the manipulation of the public is a very real thing. And, truths have been used to tell lies before, right? So it's important to keep an open mind when it comes to these things. I'm just hoping that Jacqueline Pearce is alive and safe, but something tells me if her file is out and her name is not redacted, then she's most likely not okay at all. Like I feel like she's got the name of her parents. She's got the name of her parents out there. She's got the name of herself out there. She is not safe. She is not safe. If she's alive, I don't think she's safe. I'm worried. I'm actually concerned. But let's move on. I'm reading pages 7 to 11. Because that's where like one of the files in this particular file seems to end. It's like there's multiple files like compiled into one thing. And then there's additional information from page 12, right? So I'm just going to read 7 to 11 and then I'm going to call it a night. And the reason why I'm reading these pages now is because I feel like it's important to read them. So let's proceed. Part 2. 2017, illegal detainment, Glenside Mental Health Facility, institute under the Act of Police Targeting of the Victim. Again, I'm very familiar with this. 2014 to 2016, falsified charges and fines. Again, I've been subject to that myself. I was subject to that with Wembley Police. A falsified arrest. They didn't tell me what I was arrested for. They just provoked me into assaulting a police officer so that they can charge me for that rather than having something to actually charge me for. Even though I hit my bag at a car, they wanted something to charge me with. So that's why the police officer provoked me. So I'm familiar with that. So we've got illegal representation of a lawyer, falsified diagnosis by a GP. Again, TIs, hands up. We've all been there. Illegally ordered mental health evaluation by a magistrate under the Act of Illegal Representation by a Lawyer, and illegally obtained and released medical records by the GP, Vicky Chapman, Attorney General of South Australia, direct involvement with Glenside Mental Health Institute services. So yeah, government have their hands all over this shit. Yeah, like if you're a targeted individual, you already know. 2017, misuse of government funds, collected public employee taxes, premeditated detainment, use of government services, conspired cover-up of organized targeted crime of an individual. This will kind of come up under both civil and criminal conspiracy here. That's what I'm looking at. That's what it seems like I'm looking at. We've got police targeting, court hearings systems, mental health evaluation, forensic court systems, South Australia ambulance services, transportation of targeted victim to hospital, police services, South Australia police, escort of ambulance transporting targeted individual to hospital, targeted victim to hospital, hospital services country, Port Pirie Hospital, targeted victim, transported and detained. Flying Doctors Services, transport of targeted victim. Hospital Services Metropolitan, RAH, transported from Port Pirie Hospital to RAH Hospital. Medicated, sedated and detained. What's RAH Australia? Let's have a look at that. RAH Australia. Royal Adelaide Hospital. So that's where she was transferred to. Okay. Let's go back to the file. Royal Adelaide Hospital. Hospital Services Metropolitan Glenside Mental Health Facility Institution, illegal detainment of targeted victim under the act of a falsified diagnosis. Southern Australia Health, Southern Australia CAT. Falsified diagnosis of a delusional condition and ordered medication and 12-month community treatment order. Pharmaceutical Services ordered medication, injections under the act of a falsified diagnosis for 16 months, side effects of ordered medication, self-harm, harm to oneself, premeditated murder to appear as suicide of the targeted victim, victim's awareness. 2013, contesting intellectual property theft. 2015 to 2016, reporting illegal targeted activity, fraudulent activity, sexual targeting, police targeting, malicious activity on computer systems, created isolation through blocked contact through telecommunications systems, remote access to servers. ICAC, OPI Corruption Commissioner 2016 Postal Services. Denied government funding of an ICAC investigation into reported illegal targeted activity of intellectual property theft, sexual targeting including connections, police targeting, fraudulent activity created debts prior to illegal Glenside detainment. So yeah, she was denied, and Jacqueline Pearce was denied an investigation into the theft of her intellectual property prior to her detainment, which tracks. It's like I said before about that Dorset police thing, because I was assisting Pauline Cheung against like a mental health professional, Dr. Joshi, who had basically coerced Pauline into taking more medication, and I'll explain why at a later date, but I think I've explained it already. Basically, she wanted me at the meeting on the, I think it was the 17th or 18th of December, just before the incident happened, where I had a mental health breakdown, but it was an unusual type of one considering who I am as a person, right? So it was prior to that, it was the 17th or 18th of December, I think it was the 17th, where I was supposed to accompany Pauline via WhatsApp video to her meeting with her, to her mental health meeting with her. And Dr. Joshi shut it down, and he said, because before that, at the first meeting that I attended with Pauline, he suggested that I read through the paperwork of her diagnoses, which I did, come back, or at least, I did. Read through the paperwork, or some of her paperwork. I don't know, actually, no, I didn't, because I wasn't able to access some of them. So he suggested I read through her paperwork, which I didn't, my apologies, and then come back to him on the second meeting, right? But during the second meeting, he reneged on that and basically said he didn't want me at the meeting with Pauline, even though it's Pauline's decision and not his. So he gave her a choice. It's either she attends the meeting without me and, he gives her the treatment he wants to give her, or she refuses to be in there without me, and he reports her for non-compliance. So basically what he did was he backed Pauline into a corner where she had to agree to attend the meeting without me. Otherwise, he was going to turn around and try to make out like she was non-compliant, which was not the case. It's just that she wanted me there. Do you understand what I mean? But he basically blackmailed her through the regulation of the community treatment order, like the UK equivalent over here. He did that to basically coerce Pauline into attending that meeting without me. And, predictably, because I wasn't there, the meeting didn't go as well as it could have done. That was done on purpose. That was completely to strong arm her. And when I'm hearing stuff like this, that Jacqueline Pearce continued to report intellectual property theft just before she was detained, it gives me hallmarks of the experiences that I had before with Dorset Police and with the cover up that they were trying to engineer with Pauline Cheung. Okay, it gives me very that. It's very like, it's very much like we're going to try to detain you after you've made reports that made us uncomfortable or got too close to the window. That this is the type of shit that they do to targeted individuals when targeted individuals are too close to talking about crimes. Okay? So forgive me for getting muddied on whether or not I read the files. I didn't read Pauline's files because she tried to send them to me and hackers actually disrupted them. Now my memory's clicking into place. Okay. So ICAC, OPI, Corruption Commissioner 2017. So 2016 was her first report to ICAC. Second report was in 2017. In-person interview. So 2016 was post, 2017 was in person. Denied government funding of an ICAC investigation into reported illegal targeted activity of intellectual property theft, sexual targeting, including connections, police targeting, fraudulent activity, created debts, illegal representation of a lawyer, illegal detainment, origin barcode scanned as police corruption, remotely accessing electricity servers. Again, not new. Western police services have technology like this on hand. I know the UK police does. I know the Met Police does. Excessive rise in utilities, telecommunication systems, blocked contact, excessive rise in billing, following release from detainment. So this was after she was detained. This was in 2017. ICAC, OPI, Corruption Commissioner 2021, Postal Services, denied assistance of an ICAC investigation into reported illegal targeted activity of multiple intellectual property theft, sexual targeting, including connections, police targeting, fraudulent activity, created debts, illegal representation of a lawyer, illegal detainment, origin barcode scanned as police corruption, remotely accessing electricity servers, excessive rise in utilities, telecommunication systems, block contact, excessive rise in billing, continued targeting of the victim 2017 to 2021, government involving Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman, South Australia Premier and South Australia Attorney General, official letters of reply, exact wording from both parties, conspiring. So that's page 7. I am now on page 8. Assistance denied following submission of constructed case files as a result of the South Australia government passed a bill to deny ICAC OPI investigations into government activities involving corruption. So let's have a look at the ICAC of Australia. Let's have a look-see. Yeah, my technology's lagging. This isn't coincidence. It's not coincidence that my technology's lagging. I'm being spied on. There's no way I'm not being spied on. ICAC. ICAC Australia. Independent Commission Against Corruption. So that's what the ICAC is. I suspected it might be something like that. Okay, let's go back to the file. So this is where I was. Assistance denied following submission of constructed case files as a result of the South Australia government passed a bill to deny the independent, what's it called? The Independent Commission Against Corruption, OPI investigations into government activities involving corruption. ICAC, OPI, Corruption Commissioner, could not act on the submitted case files, but digitally recorded the case files submitted in ICAC records. Entrapment of the targeted victim in targeted government organized crime for 27 years, 1993 to 2021, commencing 1989 via Rowan Ramsey. The ICAC bill was passed following government funding of an ICAC OPI investigation into Fraser, Ellis, Noarunga, Kadina, South Australia, alleging misuse of tax funds, government funds and tax evasion, involving Australian Tax Office, which was prior to the targeted victim submission in 2021 of the constructed legal case files containing documented evidence of Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman's involvement in organized targeted crime, and stating not a case for OPI Corruption Commissioner, admitting denied assistance 2013-2016, and did not report the reported case files to the federal government for investigation. Federal agents continued to attempt second setup of targeted victim by advising her to contact law firm Slater and Gordon, lawyer working for the firm Alexandra Nguyen. That's Nyugen, Alexandra Nguyen. Dr. Hoa Nguyen, Hoa Nguyen, was involved in falsified diagnosis of mental health evaluation connected to Adelaide University, which resulted in illegal detainment and attempted murder to appear as suicide of the victim. Victim's awareness. Pauline Cheung went through the same thing via radio transmissions, affecting her behavior and affecting her bodily functions. And also when she was brought over to a bridge, according to what she has told me, once she was at the bridge, she was pushed off. She didn't fall off, she was pushed off. And that's what led to this whole merry-go-round of mess when it came to her mental health, when it came to her unlawful sectioning. So, illegal detainment and attempted murder to appear as suicide of the victim, victim's awareness, conspiring, exact wording in both replies from both parties. ICAC investigation into Fraser Ellis MP, pointing the finger cover-up scapegoat of missing government funds used in 2016-2017 illegal detainment of the targeted victim, used government services Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman. Fraser Ellis, Fraser. So I say Fraser, but it's Fraser. It's the way it's spelled. Fraser Ellis MP, Noarunga, Kadina, seeking assistance 2021. Targeted victims seeking assistance in person meeting with Fraser Ellis MP, Kadina office 2021. Fraser Ellis MP, only senator contacted who offered to assist targeted victim. So, okay, so Pauline, not the one. Pauline, whatever her name was, not the one. Fraser Ellis was the one who offered to help Jacqueline Pearce. Okay, he was the only one willing to help. So, only senator contacted who offered to assist targeted victims since 2016 to 2021, not involved in organized crime, not involved in government targeted organized crime of an individual for 27 years. So Fraser Ellis, to be clear, Fraser Ellis assisted Jacqueline Pearce. Fraser Ellis was not involved in targeting. He was actually trying to help Jacqueline Pearce. So he wasn't involved in any of this, allegedly. Fraser Ellis, MP, Noronha Kadina, targeted by Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman. Involved in organized targeted crime in a government-funded ICAC investigation into Fraser Ellis, alleging tax evasion, Australian Tax Office, and misuse of government funds prior to passing a bill to deny ICAC investigations into government officials' involvement in corruption, and following targeted victim submitting both parties' involvement in denied assistance, denied a case for ICAC, corruption commissioner, and containing evidence of government and police organized targeted crime, which involved the illegal detainment, attempted murder of the targeted victim to appear as suicide 2017, Glenside detainment. Vicky Chapman, direct involvement in Glenside services. So, yeah, okay. Evidence of organized crime, money laundering through government departments in Australian Tax Office established targeted victim, 2012 to 2021, creating fraudulent debts through altered BAS statements, denied business rebates through altered BAS statements, missing superannuation funds through taxing funds released 37%, not 22%, which is recorded on super funds release history, record as only 22% taxed, missing funds during electronic transfer into targeted victims' Commonwealth bank account. So, Fraser, it seems to have conflicting information because it says that Fraser Ellis was not involved in Jacqueline's targeting, but then right after, it says there's evidence of organized crime. So it's not clear here. It says he wasn't involved in her targeting at first, but then he was involved in her targeting afterwards, or either that, or he assisted in the targeting by Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman. So it's not clear here. Like I said, I will connect the files to this video, okay? Adam Bant, MP, Federal Government, Melbourne, Australia, mail interception of evidence, impersonating a senator's office. These people are These people are fucking crazy. Adam Bant, MP, not involved in organized crime, not involved in targeted organized crime of an individual for 27 years. So what I'm seeing here is that Fraser Ellis and Adam Bant weren't directly involved in Jacqueline's targeting, but they were conspiring with those who were involved in Jacqueline Pearce's targeting. I'm starting to get a picture now. All right. So Adam Bant, MP, Federal Government, Melbourne, Victoria, mail interception of evidence, impersonating a senator's office. Adam Bant, MP, not involved in organized crime, not involved in targeted organized crime of an individual for 27 years. 2020, seeking assistance and investigation into targeted illegal activity. Postal systems. Targeted victim received a fraudulent email reply. Did not supply an email address as a contact point. Reply contained information not supplied involving business developments of JC Innovations, government projects in development, advised to contact police for assistance following supplying evidence of police targeting, because of course that's what they fucking do. Endangerment to the victim of police targeting. South Australia Police. So I'm on page 9 now. So the previous page was page 8. Ending at Adam Bant, BANDT. And I've read page 7, ending at ICAC, the Independent Commission Against Corruption. I think that's the name. Yeah. And now I am about to read page 9. So that's South Australia Police. Okay. So South Australia Police targeting. police involvement in organized crime, police involvement in organized targeted crime of an individual, 27 years, commencing in 1989, targeted victim 16 years of age, sexual targeting by a police officer, Kadena, South Australia. Okay. Fraudulent charges, falsified witness and police statements, affidavits, fraudulent fines, police sexual targeting, direct orders from Department of the Premier and Cabinet. Stephen Marshall, Vicky Chapman. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens in political targeting of the targeted victim to result in detainment. Police involvement in attempted murder of the targeted victim to appear as suicide. Victims awareness, contesting 2013, reporting illegal targeted activity in 2015 to 2016. They've got lots of names here. Lots and lots of names. None of them redacted either. So we've got the police involved in organized crime, police corruption. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens, orders from Premier, Cabinet, direct email contact. Townsville CC parking fines, Queensland Police. Police Ombudsman, Peter O'Neill and Hannah O'Neill, Port Pirie. 2007 and 2014 excessive alcohol allegations. The 2007 one was in Kadena, officer unknown, court record. 2014 was recorded on driver's license, officer unknown, Port Pirie. Jay Costin, Port Pirie. Raffin, Port Pirie. Scott Kelly, Port Pirie. Scott Richard Bowman, Crystal Brook. Kate Hanman, Port Pirie. David Brown, Port Pirie. Gary Jeffrey Brockhouse, Port Pirie. Alan Burke, Port Pirie. Witness, Ernest Edwin Polly, Port Pirie. Witness, Kathy Marie Jacobs, Napperby, Port Pirie. Farid Musin, Port Pirie. Daniel James Nicholson, Crystal Brook. Fiona, surname unknown, Port Pirie. Zach, surname unknown, American Police Administration. Police contact in evidence. This name was mentioned before. Zach from the American Police Administration. Detective Lee Gwillim, Port Pirie. William Wheatley, Melbourne, Victoria. Chris Corran, Cohran, Melbourne, Victoria. Senior Sergeant Trent Gentgall, Freedom of Information Unit. AFP Headquarters, Melbourne, Victoria. Officer name unknown, 2016, reporting missing child. India Rose, received no contact follow-up, denied assistance on targeted activity. 2021, Cadma Police Department, seeking assistance, reporting illegal targeted activity of Port Pirie. Police officers involved did not take victim statement or details of targeted illegal activity, did not contact targeted victim to follow-up report, did not act on reported targeted activity. Kadena Police in exact location of targeted victim at exact moment the targeted victim is in that location multiple times following the report. Contact exact police activity that occurred in Port Pirie Police Department in 2014 to 2016, 2013 contesting, 2015 to 2016 reporting targeted illegal activity and resulting in illegal detainment, attempted murder of the targeted victim to appear as suicide, premeditated, Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman. So allegedly, Stephen Marshall and Vicky Chapman attempted to kill Jacqueline Pearce by making her death appear to be a suicide. Again, this is something that targeted individuals are familiar with. Now hold tight. That was page 10. This is where I get to page 11. Okay? EMF and RF government and military technology. Solinov, we talked about them before. They're a company that deals with radio frequency technology. They're designers for radio frequency technology for government and military sources. Government and police targeting of an individual 15 to 50 years of age. Unusual disturbances in the home, victim family members, victim's family pet dog Ruby, refer to timeline, refer to file 14, government, EMF and RF technology. This is like the meat and potatoes of the targeted experience that we're talking about here. So allow me to continue. Suspicious activity of altered states of mind has been recognized and recorded during the act of targeting and presents itself in the form of the use of highly developed classified technology to conduct human experimentation on the human mind in the form of satellite and radio frequencies being used to affect and interfere with the electrical impulses of the human brain and being conducted by the government targeting the victim and her family, and also includes military services. The highly sophisticated, developed and designed technology involving the use of radio frequency and satellite frequency was discovered and revealed during contact with the company Solinov. Representative's name of contact Sanka PH 0403223900 during the development of JC innovations involving the development of software of products and designs involving GPS tracking systems. So what it sounds like here is that radio frequency technology was like connected to tracking systems, which makes sense because, again, gang stalking, you've got people tracking you, right? It was also revealed through contact of a mentor of the Venture Dawn program with an employee of the Adelaide University Division, Svelte Studios, involved in the development of technology involving NASA and artificial intelligence. Here we go. NASA and artificial intelligence, the application of recording keystrokes of mobile phones. Joseph Cassar also revealed the intellectual property theft of a current development of JC innovations of a social media security program currently being developed under an NDA between JC Innovations and a software development company involving the predatory behavior on social media and in the possession of Svelte Studios University. Artificial Intelligence, Adelaide University, Vincent Boulogne. So Vincent Boulogne was brought up before, and it seems to me that that has something to do with, I got to go back again because there's something to do with this funding. There's something to do with this funding, right? Let's go back. You see, this is why I read these things out loud because, you know, it retains more information. Vincent Boulogne, here we go. So he was a director of research at KTH University in Sweden. So blocked marketing on social media sites. So it might be that there's a connection between social media sites and radio frequency technology. Again, that does not surprise me. It does not surprise me. Okay. But let's see. Let's go back to 10. Go back to page 10. So Vincent Boulogne is brought up again. Mike Brooks is brought up. Joseph Cassar is brought up. Military involvement, sexual targeting, 2014 to 2016. There's just a name called David. There's no surname. The targeted victims within this evidence all suffered from the same symptoms of nightmares. Hello. Insomnia. Hello. Extreme anxiety. Hello. Graphic imagery while suffering from nightmares, and in their deep sleep being attacked, raped, or introduced to individuals had they not witnessed or encountered before during waking hours. This is where it gets really disturbing. So when I was in Fricklewood, when I was living down Anson Road, right? There are times where I would be asleep and it would be like a dreamless sleep. Like I was clearly asleep, like I wasn't waking up. My body was asleep. But I'd hear noise around me, right? And I'd feel kisses on my cheek here. And I know that feeling kisses on the cheek here, that's not technology. That is not technology, and that was not a dream. So it really begs the question, like when I was in London, what the fuck was being done to me during my sleep? Because you never know. When you're in a deep sleep, you just don't know what's being done to you. Graphic imagery while suffering from nightmares and in their sleep of being attacked, raped, or introduced to individuals they had not witnessed or encountered before during waking hours. I used to dream of people in my sleep that, like, and it was vivid too, and it, you know, and I used to see them. There's this one I'll never forget. There's this one I never forget where I was dreaming of being with a friend of mine at the time. And we were in Wood Green, we were walking around Wood Green. And there was this young gentleman. He looked like, you know, he looked white, but not white at the same time, had dark hair, wore a black suit, white shirt. And he basically brought me over to a cash point, and he was going to put like £50,000 in my bank account. My friend pushed him to put more in my bank account. So that was a dream. It wasn't a nightmare. It was a dream. It had to be like 2 weeks later. I see that exact same gentleman at the train station. That was during my university days. That was like a couple decades ago. So all of this stuff does not shock me at all. Graphic imagery. Yeah. So basically, graphic imagery while suffering from nightmares and in their sleep of being attacked, raped, or introduced to individuals they have not witnessed or encountered before during waking hours, everyday life, or television imagery, watching television programs. So you can have dreams of like TV programs and TV characters that you don't give a fuck about. Apparently, all of it is due to technological manipulation, neurotech weaponry. Neither victim had suffered any form of these events or conditions medically or personally, and there are no medical records or findings of these symptoms ever occurring in their lives before the date of 2013. The victim first contesting to the intellectual property theft of a medical business plan and developed between the years 2006 to 2012 and in possession of South Australian Health, South Australian government, and the start of an awareness of the unusual events and occurrences happening in their lives involving the suspicion of targeting and fraudulent activity. Medical certificates and the records outline the psychological effects and dates of occurrence, the events revealed in the evidence that the victim suffered as a result of the continuous targeting, victimization, I'm on 11 now, and the suspected use of this technology involving interference in the electrical impulses of the brain. That's what the radio frequencies are for. Involving government human experimentation, which resulted in permanent psychological damage to the victims' lives. Permanent damage resulted in anxiety conditions, again, check. Insomnia, check. Fear of relationships, check. Fear of interaction and contact with people, check. I don't leave my house. Fear of intimacy, not really, not in my case. Constant stress-related conditions, check and check. Isolation, segregation from family, children, and friends, check all the boxes. Constant vigilant high alert, awareness of unusual activity, fraudulent activity, and suspicion of targeting of criminal illegal activity of some form between the years 2015 to 2017, which occurred again between 2018 to 2020, full knowledge and recognition of targeting involving the Australian government, and the extensity of the targeting became apparent and known to the victim in 2019 to 2020. Referred to the file stage 1B pattern of targeting, File C, Austin Macaulay Publishers. File 14, Government EMF plus RF Technology, Solinov. So that's the end of page 11. Something is telling me to keep going, but I can't keep going tonight. It's been almost an hour. So I'm going to end it here. But this is the important part, like part 10 and 11, those pages there, those are the pages that I wanted to read for you. And again, I was going to leave it. I couldn't leave it. There was too much important stuff going on. Too much important stuff going on for me to leave out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you the file so the rest of you can read for yourselves what's going on. I'm going to continue to read more of this when I have time. But yeah, lots of questions regarding that file. Is Jacqueline Pearce alive? Was she even real? Is this just an amalgamation of different TIs that have spoken up in the past, or what? There's redacted names in here, so it can't be all the way fake because there's redacted names in here. What the fuck is really going on? Do you understand what I mean? I believe this is real. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I believe this is real. I truly do. I've been through it myself. I've been through a lot of this myself. A lot of targeted individuals have been through this themselves. And the behavior surrounding our so-called mental health is just way too fucking suspicious, bro. Way too suspicious. And before I even knew, the amount of fucking psychological warfare that was aimed at me before I even knew the type of criminals I was dealing with. But this is the reality for a lot of us. These are the people that we're dealing with. Again, I'm going to give you the number of that file. You can look it up yourselves. But this is some serious shit. I don't know what else to say to make people understand. This is not a pipe dream. And for all the perps that are watching my page, yes, you have been involved in helping these people, in helping people like this. Goes all the way back to UK royalty, bruh. Because remember, Australia is a Commonwealth. Goes all the way back to royalty, and you helped all of this happen. And now I've got to go. I'm going to leave you the number of that file. You look it up yourselves. We'll talk again. Marsha the Great out. Oh my God. Sorry. Let's just see if there's anything else I've missed here before I go. There's a lot going on here, but I'll read some of it another time. We'll talk soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.